it was less than a month ago where we found, buried deep inside a stack of 54 different exhibits in a legal filing, inside those 54 exhibits, we ferreted out a single page that showed really big news. News that somebody inside the government was trying to raise the alarm, was trying to blow the whistle about something going wrong with the way the IRS was handling President Trump's taxes and the IRS's audit of the president's taxes. Now, there was no press conference about this. There was no hearing. There was no public ruckus at all. It was just the unheralded release in a court filing of this letter, letting the Treasury Department know that some federal employee had come forward and sent an unsolicited communication to the Ways and Means Committee in Congress, setting forth what the committee called credible allegations of evidence of possible misconduct, specifically potential inappropriate efforts to influence the audit of the president's taxes. That was less than a month ago, right? This sort of roundabout revelation through court filings that trace back to this very quiet, very low-key committee in Congress that, oh, by the way, credible allegations have come forward from inside the government that there have been inappropriate efforts to influence the handling of the president's taxes and his audit at the IRS. Well, that seems like a story, right? I mean, I know it is folly to play the, imagine if it was President Obama game, but it's almost impossible not to play it with this one, right? Imagine if a committee in Congress, while President Obama was president, said they had a whistleblower who had come forward with evidence about somebody interfering in the handling of President Obama's taxes and the auditing of President Obama's taxes, right? The committee has the evidence. The Treasury Department is stonewalling their efforts to chase it down. There is a whistleblower, but we're not allowed to know what the whistleblower says. I mean, they literally would cancel 3 consecutive shows on the Fox News channel to make way for a nightly new 3-hour-long primetime show on Fox that was just about this scandal, right? Every night. Obama taxes whistleblower gate, release the evidence. Right? That's what they'd call the show, and it would run for 3 hours every night, and it would have call-ins when they reran it over in the overnight hour. I mean, it would be everything in the conservative media world. In our world, when this in fact happens, but it's President Trump, it's just like, oh yeah, I think I heard something about that. I wonder what happened to that. Sorry, no time to even chase that one down if we wanted to. Too many other scandals have happened between now and less than a month ago when we first learned about that one. So we did, less than a month ago, get a whistleblower claim about the handling of President Trump's taxes, and we still don't know what that claim was, right? But now, indeed, we've got another one, another reported whistleblower claim from inside the government. And this one is, if anything, more ominous and more worrying than what we got last month in that other whistleblower complaint about his taxes. This time, according to a late-night letter and a subpoena from the Intelligence Committee Chairman, Adam Schiff. This time, it's somebody, we think, within the Office of the Director of National Intelligence, somebody within the intelligence community, who has sent a complaint and some sort of evidence or statement to the Inspector General for the intelligence community. And that Inspector General reviewed this whistleblower complaint and found it credible. Also found it to be a matter of urgent concern. So whistleblowers are supposed to have protected lanes of communication so they can surface their concerns if they see something going wrong inside government that people ought to know about. So in this case, this is a whistleblower in the intelligence community. This person is supposed to take the whistleblower complaint to the Inspector General of the intelligence community. Once this person tells the Inspector General what his or her complaint is, that is supposed to set in motion a very specific series of things that nobody's supposed to have a choice about. They're just supposed to happen automatically because of the statute that protects whistleblowers, right? And in this instance, what's supposed to happen is that the Inspector General, upon receiving that complaint, assessing it to be credible, which the IG did, assessing it to be urgent, which the IG did, well, that Inspector General is then supposed to send the complaint to the head of the relevant agency, in this case to the Director of National Intelligence. That all happened as it is supposed to. IG did his or her part, right? Then the next thing that's supposed to happen is that that claim from the whistleblower is supposed to be sent within 7 days from the Director of National Intelligence to the committees, the relevant committees in Congress. So in this case, the Director of National Intelligence is supposed to send that urgent, credible complaint to the Intelligence Committee, headed by Congressman Adam Schiff in the House. And you've only got 7 days to do it, and you don't have a choice in the matter. And that's the part that just isn't happening. We have an acting director of national intelligence appointed recently by President Trump. That acting director of national intelligence got this whistleblower complaint from the inspector general. It's labeled urgent, it's labeled credible, but according to Adam Schiff's office, instead of sending the thing on to the Intelligence Committee, which the law says they must do, and they must do within 7 days, they instead consulted with the Justice Department about what they should do with this whistleblower complaint. They then sent Adam Schiff a letter saying, no, we're not giving it to you. Yes, it exists, you're not getting it. Telling Chairman Schiff that the complaint wasn't going to his committee, it wasn't going anywhere, because in the view of the Director of National Intelligence, this complaint is about a person who is outside the intelligence community, and it involves matters that are privileged. Well, I mean, do the math, right? I mean, the only person who's really in the chain of command for the intelligence community who isn't in the intelligence community is the president. And it's not clear who matters of privilege would apply to here, except the president. So it kind of seems like this is maybe a complaint about the president, that the Director of National Intelligence is holding and not allowing to be released, as he is required to do so under law. Here's how Adam Schiff sums it up. Quote, the committee can only conclude, based upon this remarkable confluence of factors, that the serious misconduct at issue involves the President of the United States and/or other senior White House or administration officials. So somebody has come forward inside the government, we've learned within the past month. Somebody has come forward inside the government to say, hey, there's been improper efforts to influence the handling of the president's tax returns and the audit of his taxes. We don't know what happened to that whistleblower's complaint. Someone has also now come forward from inside the government to say that he or she has evidence of serious misconduct, and the Intelligence Committee believes that it must be an allegation about the president or another senior Trump administration official, and that complaint is just being sat upon by the newly appointed acting director of national intelligence. But at least in that case, the acting director of national intelligence now has a subpoena on his desk telling him that he needs to hand over that complaint in unredacted form tomorrow. He needs to hand it over by tomorrow. And if he isn't willing to hand it over by tomorrow, he should be prepared to testify at an open hearing 2 days later on Thursday of this week. So, watch this space. As they say, we won't be canceling all programming on this network and running a 3-hour special on this every night until it's resolved. But it's not like the will isn't there. I would do it.